kind of feel like reading and talking about some brain rot today involving Black Myth Wukong and some of the discourse over that game and fucking Star Wars Outlaws, and I think it's kind of funny. Shroud said he believes that if Black Myth Wukong doesn't win Game of the Year, the awards are rigged. Well, I mean, considering the metric that the Game Awards kind of go off, it's a lot of popularity, and I'm not doubting that Black Myth Wukong isn't super popular right now. It crossed like about a large concurrent of players on Steam, mostly Chinese, because people don't seem to understand that fucking a lot of Chinese people are buying this game. It's like 2 billion people over there. They don't seem to understand, oh, this is the metric that should be constant and resonant within gaming, and therefore all these Chinese people supporting it. It's like, you know, it's a small percent of Western people still buying this game. You're talking about Western studios and the ire and the hate against them. This is like a Chinese made game. Those people came out and supported that game, and I thought most folks that are primarily anti-woke, I thought they hated China anyway. Like, a lot of their discussions, they fucking hate China when they utilize it against Disney and how Disney gets like funds from the CCP over there. So like, what's going on now that there is this Chinese highly rated game in terms of like sales and everything? You just suck the cock of China? Like like, okay, all right, you flip-flop there. Like, your main nemesis of a company made like $1 billion with Captain Marvel, the first one, and now you want to suck China's dick. Like, it's just kind of funny to me when you really think about how all this is playing out in the end, with how people are weaponizing Wukong sales against everything else. You guys know me. I think a lot of this culture war is stupid. I think a lot of this is confirmation bias. I think a lot of it is conspiracy theory driven nonsense. I saw a guy, I can't find the tweet in particular, but believe me, it does exist. When the reviews for Wukong hit, and I swear to God, I thought I was like literally in the fucking Twilight Zone. Some dude was saying that he believed that an 8 out of 10 is too low for something like Wukong. Now, why is this happening? And I kind of got to give a bit of a sit rep before I continue on with the video itself. And this is about like the problem with reviews, and I think people's perception is so skewed when the game that they want to win or succeed or do well, whether it is a cultural war battering ram, if it doesn't get enough recognition, something like Stellar Blade, which is what people are comparing this to, where some folks were definitely wilding out about that game, definitely glazing, definitely being stans of that game for not the most constructive intentions at times. Definitely that people like this exist, and when you give the game that they want to win an 8 out of 10, that's not good enough. That's not harmonic enough to their ears, and I think that's fucking stupid. All right, I think you're stupid if you think that an 8 out of 10 is not good enough in the mainstream media for a game like that. You motherfuckers think that an 8 out of 10 for a game that you like is like a death sentence, and that makes no fucking sense. I don't really fucking understand this. You should be happy if you are a Wukong stan and glazer that the game has done a multitude of numbers over there at China. You should be fucking happy with yourself. You should be fucking happy that the game is an 8 out of 10. Sometimes you're not happy enough that it's not, what, a 9? Well, you know, I hate to break it to you like this, but not every game is going to be a 9 or a 10, no matter what you think. In your personal mindset, that's probably like a 9 or a 10, but that proves that reviews are just subjective at the end of the day, and it goes for mainstream reviews. If someone gives something an 8, it is what it is. They did the same thing for Ghost of Tsushima. People got tight, pissed off, annoyed. It's not like people tried to pit Ghost of Tsushima against The Last of Us Part 2 or anything, but it got a 9. It was seen as not good enough. None of that matters. As long as you enjoyed the game, played the game, had fun with the game, then who gives a fuck about someone else's review score if you quote unquote don't care? But you do care. You do care about these mainstream reviews, which is why you harp on about it constantly, all this stuff. IGN did this, that, and the third. I don't like IGN. I can't believe some fucking cocksucker, all right, came to my fucking YouTube comment section and he said something like, oh, but you're a fan of IGN, you work for IGN, all this bogus bullshit, right? Some dumb fucking idiot who couldn't confirm anything of the sort when I called him out on it. Look, there's this new thing now with people calling others paid shills because the game they don't like is not getting enough credibility. To that I say fuck you, man, alright? As a reviewer, look, if a game sells well, which is what is important to a company, you got nothing to worry about. And a game could also do critically well, not sell, and continue onward and still be a beloved gem to people as well. I think there's this inward battle of folks like never shutting the fuck up about sales at all. Never. And it's like, if your IP sold well and if it will continue on, be happy, all right? If a game did well and doesn't sell well and you hate it, it doesn't mean that the game is shit, all right, just because of sales figures. You are fucking stupid if you believe that. Sales figures is just a metric for the company and that's it. It doesn't mean everyone's experience is the worst thing in the world. I can't believe people said that on a wide basis. They tried to say, oh, Dead Space was this, that, and the third because of sales, not looking at the reviews and seeing that people mostly thought it was a great fucking game. And I had a discussion about this like a couple of days ago, talking about how folks will say something is trash because it didn't sell well. And I thought to myself, well, that's fucking dumb, because again, we have cult classics that did well in terms of reviews, that picked up later, that didn't really do well in the theaters. Like, movie comparisons are like literally the best thing, because Scarface, The Thing, and fucking The Warriors, all of these movies did not do the best in box office, but these folks continue to harp on sales every fucking time they get, as if sales is the most ideal thing when judging a piece of media. You know, that's important for franchise continuation, that's important for this, that, and the third, for the companies, the optics, and the fucking publishers. But in terms of an everlasting experience on quality, hey man, if the game or movie is good, the sales really just are a figurehead for the fucking publishers and fanboys to fight over. That's it. As for a game that didn't sell as much as Wukong possibly winning the game of the year like Final Fantasy, because now people are scared of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for some weird fucking reason. Oh, look, the year is not even over yet. We don't even know what Silent Hill remake is gonna do. I don't think Sparking Zero is gonna be like this monster, like 10 out of 10. I think it's gonna be probably an 8, probably a 9, but there's still other games coming out, still other games before the Game Awards. I don't get this weird fear because Final Fantasy has a 9 and Wukong has an 8, that folks are now kind of battling it out between what is going to be the game of the year, because Final Fantasy has like a point higher. Like, what the fuck is that? Be happy that Wukong did well. This community brain rot bullshit is fucking dumb, dude. It really is. And I'm just gonna say, for the record, again, nobody pays me. Guess what? When a developer sends me a code, what is the first thing I tell them? And I tell all developers this, and not a lie is told. I said, if you're going to sponsor me, if you're going to send me any codes, if there's going to be some integrity here between the two of us, I gotta be nuanced about your game. I gotta talk about the stuff that I liked, I gotta talk about the stuff that I disliked, and then I give a final score. That's it. That's all you gotta let me do. If you try to collude me or buy me out or say some shit like, oh, I can't talk about this, that, and the third, I'm going to reject your review. I'm going to reject your code because you're not letting me speak freely on the matter. That's what I always told each game developer, and all my reviews that I've talked about in the past were honest in my opinion. And whether I liked something more or disliked something more, is something that I'm kind of, you know, entitled to talk about since this is my channel, my thought process. If you disagree, you can always just simply say, I'm gonna make my own channel and I'm gonna give Stellar Blade a 10 out of 10, or I'm gonna give this game a 10 out of 10. You're more than obligated to do that, but I'm not obligated to agree with you just because you made a review that differs from mine and vice versa. That's not how it works. People need to understand how this shit works. You need to get your priorities straight on reviewing things properly. Not everyone is a paid shield just because they like a game that you happen to not like on a random fucking Saturday, all right? It's like, you know, if I was getting paid like money, you'll see high production value, all that shit. You're not seeing that here. You're seeing what I got, what I bought with my own money out of my own pocket. As you saw, I just got Dead Rising Remaster with a little help from my brother. I bought that game, all right? So I have that game on my Xbox dashboard. I have that shit, but Capcom did not give me a code for that game whatsoever. Not everyone reviewing a game on YouTube is a paid shield. My definition of a paid shield is someone like during the Cyberpunk fiasco with the yellow chairs. Remember that shit where they were handing like yellow chairs to people and they were showing them off, getting them like getting real comfy right there, and then all of a sudden it was like the reviews for Cyberpunk was like just glowing out of the blue, but there was that NDA that happened where you couldn't talk about any of the game bugs in the game. And there were people glazing that game, getting paid yellow chairs, all that stuff. I find that to be like really deep paid shilling and non-integrity in a review, because you clearly got paid off. You won't talk about the game bugs. What is the problem? I think when people are paid off to not acknowledge those things, then that is a huge issue. You are potentially selling false advertising to someone if a game is broken, but you won't say so because you are taking checks under the counter. But what you accuse people of all the time, general YouTubers who will not lie to you, who will say everything point blank, and even if someone is getting a check, like some dude came in my comment section, oh, G-Man Lies was paid off with Fallout 76, he wasn't being honest. But I was like, did he still criticize the game? Did he lie in anything about his review? I was asking like questions constantly, and this fucking dumb asshole was like getting personally insulted because I didn't believe a word he was saying. If he was still criticizing the game and saying, oh, Fallout 76 is kind of you know, even if he was paid, it didn't matter because he still criticized the game, as opposed to someone straight lying to you about the experience, straight lying to you about how they felt, versus everything else that's presented in the game and being hidden under an NDA where they can't talk about fucking bugs. All right, that's the definition of being paid under the table. And if you can't prove that, stop calling everyone that. I was never paid by WB to like their games. I was never paid by Insomniac to like their games, but I am obligated to, because guess what? It's how I feel. It's my thought process. You can't take that away from me. No matter what everyone says, you can't take that away from me. And there are some bad faith actors out there, don't get me wrong. There are some reviews and there's some misinterpretations where people say stuff in their reviews. It's like, I don't agree with that. You know, why are we calling Miles Morales the exaggerated swagger of a black teen? Like, I feel like that's ridiculous. Okay, or why is there people in certain reviews saying this, that, and the third, or lying about a movie, or they misconceive something? There's going to be those agreements and disagreements in reviews, and I understand, but I feel like the labels and misunderstandings and, quite honestly, the straight fanaticism that happens when someone gives a score is just something that's not really done well with certain people, and they could be proven wrong. And if you're proven wrong, if you don't have a certain counter argument for everything and you back out, you get pissed, you get angry, why did you make that assumption in the first place? Why did you not adhere to constructive discourse, civil discourse with that person. Instead, you look like the drooling moron here for making that label in the first place. And I think some people just do not understand nuance. The middleman is dead. 7 out of 10's dead. Someone could say Star Wars Outlaws is a buggy game, but I had fun with it. Sometimes you can have fun with the game, even though on a technological level it needs to be more polished. It happens. Guess what? Guess what was a buggy game that I had fun with, that had like issues, that had hit detection issues, and I still would give it like a 7 out of 10. The Evil Within, the first one, all right? Where it was like, so some things were off, felt janky, felt like kind of, you know, a little bit rushed, but I still liked the game enough to give it a 7 out of 10. I think a 7 out of 10 is potential. It has the potential to go somewhere, but it's not quite on the level of an 8. It's not quite on the level of a 9. And there's people who pissed off that Outlaws got a 7. It's like, literally, look, I'm gonna end it with this because I know this has been a long rant, but if you want to prove validity, I thought it was common law to say let's wait until the game releases and then we play it ourselves, or we see the gameplay ourselves from other people, and then all of a sudden, you know, there's people that will come to educated guesses, or they will be really legitimate in their assessments and estimating how the gameplay is going, how it feels to them, how having their hands on the stick feels to the person who is playing it. And I think we just lost a lot of this in between. We lost a lot of people just caring in the process about being valid and about having integrity themselves, and just simply not being honest anymore about how they judge games in the mainstream space, and just being completely misinformed. That's why we have the rise of grifters. People that just don't know what the fuck they're talking about anymore. You know, but a review score makes them the most angriest in the world. And I guess maybe to me it's kind of entertaining, because if a number bothers you that much sometimes, then I think you have bigger problems to contend and deal with versus anything else. My name is Renegade Operative. I am signing off. This is my truth and what I think about people that seem so weird and fragile when a game is reviewed in a way that they don't seem to appreciate, even if the review itself is more or less fine. I'm not talking about like bad faith actors. I'm talking about like people that will say, hey, I like this game and I found some things that I disliked about it, but overall 7 out of 10. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You gave it a 7. It's not a 5. Fuck you. No, fuck you. And if you care so much about having your opinion conveyed, become a content creator, not a faceless egg on the internet. Become a content creator, put yourself out there, review the game, and do your thing. Otherwise, I find a lot of this stuff to be very, very stupid and it's only gonna get funnier. And I didn't even get to the portion where like people were saying stuff in the reviews. Let's have a little end portion here. Let's see, I'm just gonna read off Twitter, so it's gonna be a blank screen, but I'm clearly reading tweets. I love how people are saying Star Wars Outlaws is a typical 7 by IGN, even though most games are in fact just good, aka 7. It's not really that weird, people. They gave this buggy mess a 7. I mean, you can have game bugs and still give a game a 7 out of 10. It's, again, I said Evil Within is a perfect example. The gestures at the stormtrooper dies, IGN 7 out of 10. Oh, all right then. Just like this article is a letdown because he says this because, oh well, they gave the game something that I didn't like. A Han Solo experience, again, that's just word verbiage, so if you don't like that, I mean, you know, someone wants to be Han Solo and have a blaster just shoot people in Star Wars Outlaws, I'm pretty sure they can. Finish the game before reviewing. This is kind of weird because some people do throw out certain embargoes, and sometimes the open world game could be like 60, 100 hours, and you expect the person to bum rush the game in a short amount of time. So that is kind of a thing, but probably not for the intent that this guy is thinking. Let's see, but I'm pretty sure they probably would have gave it a 7 anyway, or 7 out of, you know, a 7.5, you know, point in there as well that probably would get people pissed. Here's one. Apparently some guy is complaining about the female model's looks, and honestly, if you are a person that will give a game like, what is it, a 2 out of 10 or a 1 out of 10 because of the score, and you're focusing on just the character and how she looks itself, I don't think that's a fair review. You could probably say, yeah, maybe that's an issue with the graphics and if it is inconsistent in ways, but even that argument is kind of finicky if it's like not an inconsistent facial model as opposed to just changing it the way they want to. I don't think that's a fair review at all. That's something that you could say, oh, it doesn't look like the original model or whatever, but is it a real fault of the game if it's not graphically inconsistent with the actual model itself, constantly shifting from scene to scene? That's where you can make an argument, but otherwise you can't. It's just the nature of the game at this rate. Let's go down. Oh, there's a lot of comments here. Jesus Christ. These game journals are trying so hard to say something good about Star Wars Outlaws and say just enough negative things to not be called a paid shill. We see through it. Well, if you say positive and negative things, you're being more nuanced than being a paid shill. If you're being an absolute shill, you're just saying nothing but complete and utter positivity. It can't be anything wrong with the game. It's perfect. If someone gives a game a 10 out of 10 and then says it's flawless, nothing is wrong with it, there's not a section that was maybe slow or whatever, then that's like totally, you can tell. Or if someone's saying a game is a 0 and not explaining why the game is a 0, it just is, and not going into detail, then that's also a bad review. I think if you fall in line with either of those spectrums, that's kind of a bad review in general. So there's got to be like some nitpick or whatever, but sometimes nitpicks are not big overall criticisms to some people, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but some people just don't understand that. All right, it's like, oh, I just nitpicked this little portion or whatever. Some people think like a nitpick is actually worth dropping like 3 points off at times. I'm not fucking shitting you. Like, that's the worst thing in the world. Like, it's like, what kind of fucking media illiteracy are you living on, baby? Anyway, I'm signing off for real this time. I think that's enough stupidity that my brain could take for now. Just IGN Japan gave Wukong a 7. Okay, I gotta read this. Like, I don't trust my reviews, especially from IGN, but okay. I think a 7 is reasonable. It's fine. It's completely respectable. Hey, some decent people in here. Sweet, oh god, here we go. The sweet baby reach is long indeed from someone giving fucking Wukong a 7 on IGN. Somehow is Sweet Baby Incorporated. So no wonder AC Shadows got approved in Japan. I'm telling you, some people are drooling idiots. Like, it's a word that was said in Deadpool and Wolverine when you see Blade for the first time. The first word that Blade utters in the MCU, regarded. Yeah, I guess I'm not gonna say the full thing. Yeah, but they're pretty regarded right now. There's some regarded children right now in this thread. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, bro? Like, oh my god. But you know, maybe I'll read more of this later on. This is like, people are laughing. There's like, what the hell are you talking about? This score is I can't even read it because I'm laughing so hard. This score is respectable and clearly does not have any connection to Sweet Baby Eek. What the fuck? I'm sorry, I'm reading all this raw, no edits. How would they rate games like this at a 6 or a 5 out of 10? Seriously, why attack Japan here? If Assassin's Creed Shadows didn't take art and didn't properly credit it, it would have been less yelled at by Japan in the first place. The black guy samurai is less of a concern, even if the real guy wasn't possibly a samurai. Where the hell did you get Sweet Baby Ink here? And again, everyone has differing perspectives on AC Shadows. I personally think that you know, a lot of people are also kind of dumb there, considering the fact that oh, the Japanese just all dislike bombed the trailer, even though I can go to the trailer now as a person that is living in the United States and leave a dislike and make a narrative there, no problem. So it's like, what the fuck? We've gotten down to this point where folks already, apparently IGN Japan was afraid to be hacked. I can't read anymore of this. I'm done. I'm done, people. So I was just reading a little bit off of Steam and Twitter, and my brain is gonna melt. So I'll talk to you good folks later. See you.
I feel like that movie was too low on your list. It should have been like 3 spots higher in your list. Well, then it wouldn't be my list, would it? It would be your list. How about you just record your list, and then you could watch it over and over again and pat yourself in the back while you watch it?